This grand jury, the Justice Department, and Jack Smith's prosecutor told me directly that I could not talk about my testimony or risk legal actions. Then he goes on to say that certain senators I won't mention here should, as those lawyers, ask those lawyers why they instructed witnesses this way.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We welcome the chance to have Mr. Brunel testify under oath as opposed to on X. But nevertheless, what I would ask, given that this witness has said he made the request, this witness has said he would like us to read the testimony, I would ask if you and Senator Durbin would be willing to make that request of the court.
I wouldn't answer your question without get all the background I need, considering the conversation between you two. I couldn't make that judgment now.
Yeah, I appreciate your consideration, Mr. Chairman. And the reason why I think it's so important is let's remind ourselves what those documents were in Mar-a-Lago. According to the indictment, the classified documents Trump stored in his boxes included information regarding defense and weapons capabilities of both the United States and foreign countries, the United States nuclear programs, potential vulnerabilities of the United States and its allies to military attack, and plans for possible retaliation in response to a foreign attack. So testimony that goes to the care or lack of care, the truthfulness or lack of truthfulness of Mr. Patel would be directly relevant to whether he should be confirmed as FBI director, and those records are there for the asking. No court's going to turn us down. Mr. Patel may be, I don't know, but he may be the first nominee for FBI director in history who felt it necessary to plead the fifth, to say he wouldn't testify to a grand jury because it might incriminate him. Maybe the first nominee for FBI director ever to feel the necessity of pleading the fifth. Shouldn't we ask for that testimony when the witness himself says he would encourage it? Finally, I would just say, we need to think about where we are in this moment. We have a new president. He's fired prosecutors who investigated him. He's investigating other prosecutors, or his Department of Justice is. He's fired inspector generals who might hold him accountable. And this is just the start. And as FBI director nominee, he's chosen someone whose primary qualification, in my view, is his willingness to say yes when everyone else would say no to whatever the president wanted, to say whatever he wanted, to do whatever he wanted. That's why he is sitting here. I mean, look at the people who held that job before Mr. Patel, the stature of the people that held that job, the qualifications of the people that held that job. And how can any of us think that his background, his qualifications hold a candle to the people who went before him? How did we get here where we are defending a nominee like this, who makes songs with convicts who attack law enforcement? How did we get here? And where are we going? History is littered with democracies that lost their freedoms and didn't notice it while it was happening. Let's not be one of them.
Your time's up. Before Senator Tillis ends this, I want to put in the record a letter from the parents of Kayla Mueller. Mr. Patel met them through his role in the successful operation to track and kill ISIS leader al-Baghdadi. The terrorist, I'm quoting, the terrorist group ISIS kidnapped our daughter Kayla on August 2013. Any family who has lived through such an experience will know the value of dedicated, compassionate law enforcement officials. Because we have personal experience of his dedication, we know that Kash Patel is such a person. We continue to see in him a genuinely kind, thoughtful, action-oriented man who focuses on what is true and right and just. He loves our country and our citizens and wants the best for them all. He wants the country to do the best that it can. Without objection, I'll put their letter in the record. Senator Tillis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Patel, I think everything that I did to invest in knowing you better has been on display today. Congratulations. You've exhibited composure knowledge of the subject matter that I think more than qualifies you for director of the FBI. You know, we seem to have the benefit of sort of a different view of looking at the history. I heard, I actually was supportive of Comey until I figured out that he was playing games. Maybe this is one of the people of great stature, but it's well known now that he did some things that seem to have a political tint to them. I voted for Christopher Wray. I think he's a good man, but I also think he oversaw a department that did bad things. And at the end of the day, that person has to own it, and you will too. It's probably going to disappoint the audience to hear what I'm about to say. Now, those who are watching at home, but you may be surprised to know that most of us at this dais on both sides of the aisle like each other. Senator Schiff and I just met within the last week to talk about areas that we can work together on. Senator Padilla and I actually worked together. We co-chair the bipartisan mental health caucus, and I believe it's actually one of the most important pieces of legislation we've done. I didn't get a whole lot of Republicans to vote for it, but a fair number. And this is working extraordinarily well. Would you commit to me to go into the Nix Center in West Virginia and just see how extraordinary this has come to be, and how it hasn't resulted in a mass confiscation of guns? It hasn't resulted in a propagation of red flag laws. In fact, the plain text of the legislation is not allowing money to flow to states, unfortunately, including Florida, that we believe have not gotten the due process right quite yet, so that we would actually fund red flag laws that make sense. This is what bipartisanship produces. Now, you're not going to see any bipartisanship in your confirmation. Look, we had Pam Bondi here, and we had people on this committee talking about a friendship or a friendly relationship in the past. The fact is, it was a shirts and skins game. Blue voted no, red voted yes. It's got to be the same thing for your confirmation. But Mr. Patel, I tell you, it has been a distinct honor to do the work with you to get you ready for this hearing. You did all the work. I'm kind of like the person on the sideline giving you some suggestions, but you did an extraordinary job. And you're going to be held to a high standard. I hope you listen to, and if you don't remember it, listen again to what Senator Kennedy said. There are folks like us that are tired of the pendulum swinging back and forth. We want to be the Senate that confirms an FBI director, that rights the ship, shows consistent respect for the rule of law and the Constitution, consistent respect for all law enforcement officers, and I absolutely believe you're up to the task, and I look forward to supporting your nomination.
Thank you, Senator.
Before I close the meeting, do you have anything you want to say? I've got something here that's directly related to when in my opening statement, I said I want the members of this committee to think about something that's brand new. And it kind of deals with this whole exchange we had today in regard to the grand jury testimony. So I want to read, based upon whistleblower disclosures that I made today, it's clear how unfair and corrupt the Trump prosecution was, and that's created a little faith at best in the grand jury process. We shouldn't allow part of that corrupt process to be used by this committee against the nominee. An example, one document I made public today, DOJ officials literally concurred with Thibault to open the electric case against Trump, and that included a grand jury investigation. Jack Smith's lawfare efforts and its corrupt process should be what this committee investigates. Mr. Patel, thank you for your testimony today. Your family and friends who are here, I think you got to be very proud of him under these tough conditions, because he got tough questions. I think you did very well, and your reputation leading up to and during this hearing, I think proves that you're a person that can stand a lot of heat, including a president's telling you how to do your job. If confirmed, you'll be in charge of one of the world's best law enforcement agencies at the time when it desperately needs strong changes. Everyone's information, written questions can be submitted for the record until 5 p.m. tomorrow. Mr. Patel, when you receive them, it's very important you get back to us just as fast as you can so we can set up the meetings that we have to go through to get you to the floor of the Senate. So return them to the committee as soon as possible. Mr. Patel, you are excused and the hearing is adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.